buddy.
I'm Billy Yargus, product specialist with Woodhaven Custom Calls, and today we're going to talk about the vocabulary of the wild turkey. We're going to go through a lot of different calls, from clucks and purrs, tree yelps, plain yelps, excited hen yelps, cutting, all kinds of different things. If you like this video, go to our YouTube site and check out all the different calling tips that we have on there, and we have some great hunts on there. First call we're going to talk about is a cluck. Now, when I'm thinking of a cluck, I'm thinking more of like early in the morning. You start off right off in the bath when you walk in the woods and you get set down. I've actually sat right underneath turkeys before, and a lot of times by accident, but by that accident happening, I was able to watch the hens up in the trees as they very first woke up. And one of the first calls I like to make is the same call that a hen wants to make. Being realistic is going to make a big difference in whether you're going to be able to kill a gobbler or not. So one of the first things a hen does is she starts clucking. And all the things she's doing, remember this, she's always making those sounds to try to start a conversation with the turkeys. She's trying to figure out, where's everybody at? You know, turkeys, they move during the night. Maybe something spooked one and they flew off, or maybe they just changed limb. So they're trying to figure out where everybody's at, and this is what it sounds like. What that is just, some people call it a bubble cluck. I used to call it a cluck. That's what a hen turkey does. She sits up there, and on my cutter call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that over on just the straight reeds. That's how I'm getting that real soft cluck like that. Then you might throw a little tree yelp in it. That yelp is just trying to get that conversation started, and that's usually when the turkeys are going to start responding to you. On the cluck, sometimes you might get one to cluck, but when you do that little soft yelp, a lot of times that's when the hens are going to start responding, and maybe a gobbler will gobble at you. So what that's doing, I'm still staying on just those two reeds on that cutter call to be able to get those clear little notes like that, to get that tree yelp. And a lot of times a hen will start talking. And the other part of that is, once a hen does that kind of a yelp, she's not actually opening up her mouth. What she's actually doing is kind of keeping her mouth shut, maybe an under the breath type of a yelp. And then as a hen begins to open her mouth just a little bit, the yelps get just a touch louder, and you get just a hazy type of rasp in it. So we're going to go from that real clear note, and then going to open it up a little bit and go to just a touch louder. And then I'll probably stick to that. Once I get to that yelp, then I'll stick to that. By doing that kind of a yelp and putting just a haze of rasp in it, it's telling that hen that the other turkeys, that you're starting to wake up. The next thing would be maybe a fly down cackle. Now what a hen does at a fly down cackle is she's setting up in that tree, and she starts looking around, and she's looking on the ground, and she's trying to figure out exactly where she wants to fly down to. A lot of times you'll hear other hens fly down, or maybe a gobbler fly down, and you want to play this out, because this is what turkeys are doing. They're clucking and they're looking on the ground, looking for a clear path to get to the ground, making sure there's no predators down there or anything. And I personally think they get very, very nervous, and that's why the clucking gets a little faster, and all of a sudden explodes off the limb and does a fly down cackle. Once she hits the ground, what she's going to do is, a lot of times she's going to do a plain yelp, and you've just explained to all the rest of the turkeys that you're a hen, that you're on the ground, and that you're ready to start your day. if you notice when I was playing yelping, I also throwed in like a single noted yelp, just one little yelp. And to me, that puts more realism into your calling. If you just do the exact same thing over and over and over, a lot of times that's how I can tell, if I'm hunting public ground especially, I can tell that that's a hunter over there because they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Not that a turkey won't do that, but by putting in just a single noted yelp, listen to it again, just a single noted yelp will help put the realism into your calling, and it'll fool not only the turkeys but even other hunters that are around your area if there is any there. And when a turkey does that, and the reason it puts realism into your call, when a turkey does that, it's because they're listening. The whole time that they're calling, they're trying to get a conversation, and they're listening for other turkeys to get a response. Now, whether it's a gobbler, and another thing you want to realize is when a gobbler does gobble, listen to turkeys in your area, and what you're going to find out is when a bird gobbles, a hen will stop calling for just a second. Once he's done gobbling, then she may pick right back up and yelp again. And the next time he gobbles, then, or it may be another hen yelps. If a hen yelps back, a lot of times, boom, you stop yelping at that point. And unless you're trying to make them mad, then maybe you just want to try to call over top of them, because turkeys will do that too. They get mad at each other. It's no different than people. I mean, people start getting aggravated at each other, and next thing you know, they're hollering back and forth, and they're actually not listening to what the other person has to say. They don't want to listen. And turkeys will be exactly the same way, so then they get more aggressive. The next call would be maybe an excited hen yelp. Once you're on the ground, a turkey starts gobbling at you, you want to express yourself. You want to tell that turkey that you're getting excited because you heard him gobble. So what I do a lot of times, I may be plain yelping, and when I do hear a turkey gobble, I might explode into some excited hen yelping and throw a little bit of cutting in there. And the cutting is just a hard cluck. And it has a rhythm to it. You have to listen to the turkeys. The rhythm that they got is so we have to get that exact same rhythm. But remember this, no matter what kind of calling you're doing, whether you're doing the plain yelp, whether you're doing excited hen yelp, whether you're cutting, every little pause is usually a pause to try to hear. And by doing exactly what a turkey does, it also helps you as a hunter to be able to hear yourself. So when you put those pauses in there, it's not just to be realistic, but it's also to help you to be able to hear other birds in your area. A lot of times if you're just calling real loud, and that's why a lot of people say, well, you need to have a buddy off to the side, which that does help, that your buddy could be off to the side and he can be listening, because while you're calling, you can't hear him. But if you put those little pauses in there, especially if you're hunting by yourself, it will give you the ability to be able to hear. So do what the turkeys are doing. This is excited hen yelping. Plain yelp. And he gobbles. It's a faster, it's a louder, it's more of excitement, and that's what you want to put into your calling, is that excitement, to be able to get that gobbler to believe that you're getting excited when you hear him. So what that's going to do to him is going to bring the excitement level up on him. It's going to get him all turned on and make him want to come to you. Cutting, just straight cutting. It's not something you hear a whole lot out in the woods, but when a turkey's really excited, and I usually envision a turkey that's walking, maybe walking to me or walking to that gobbler when she begins to cut. And what she's going to do is she's going to start off a little slower, and then she's going to get a little bit louder. I like to throw a little bit of excited hen yelps in there, just the same way as when I was doing my excited hen yelp, I like to throw the cutting in there, okay? So a hen can do her run of cutting and can do it slowly, or they can also pick it up when they get more excited and do it even faster. And as you notice, I still put those pauses in there. Even when I was cutting, I mean, I may have had a little run of real hard, fast cutting, but then I slowed it down and I got it to where I could hear a little bit. I threw some yelps in there, and then I come right back with some more hard cutting. That is just telling another turkey that you're excited about it, okay? Excited about hearing them. Another one might be a KeeKee Run. A KeeKee Run, I always explain this like more into a false scenario. When you bust up a bunch of birds, one of the first things you're going to hear out of any kind of a turkey is that they're going to start doing a KeeKee really soft to where you can just barely hear that KeeKee. And a lot of times they're up in a tree, or maybe they're on the ground, but a lot of times I've had them fly up in the trees. And the first thing they want to do is they want to do a real soft KeeKee. And the reason they're doing that is they're timid. So what you want to do is you want to present yourself as being timid. Now this can also be even in the springtime. So you walk in, I always tell people, don't be too frustrated. When you walk in and you spook birds, stay there. Because if you bump a gobbler with a bunch of hens and say they fly up in trees, then they just take off running and everything else. A lot of times what you're going to hear is sometimes even in the springtime, a hen will start doing a KeeKee. And what she's doing is she's very timid. She does it very softly. And she still doesn't want to trigger a coyote or say you into knowing exactly her location. And what she's wanting to do is try to find the other birds. They're trying to get back together. So KeeKee Run just started off real soft. And I do this a lot. Say after I busted them up, I wait 10-15 minutes. And then I start real soft with maybe some KeeKees and get some real soft yelps. And as time goes on, say you get 10, 15, 20 minutes into it, you might get just a little bit louder, and then eventually get to the point to where if nothing's going on, like say 30, 45 minutes, something like that, then you might even get louder and start doing a KeeKee Run and start yelping even louder and getting a little more aggressive with it, because that's what turkeys do. Once they're not getting a response from another bird, then they begin to do that. So I'm gonna start off just a real soft KeeKee. And that's the way I'll usually start it off, just trying to get a response from another bird. Now, if I don't get a response, I might pause for 10 or 15 minutes, wait and just see if another bird had heard me and is starting to come in. And you have to be careful with this because a lot of times they'll come in silent. They are the same way that you are. You're kind of timid. You're not wanting to bring other attention to you. When you don't get the response, you get a little louder. And then maybe put another pause in there and wait 10 or 15 minutes. So before you know it, you're within 30 to 45 minutes. So then you might want to start getting more frantic. And this is what a turkey does when they're not getting a response and they want to get back with their flock mates. They begin to KeeKee even louder and begin to yelp even louder, trying to get even just a response. And what's going to happen a lot of times, you'll hear a gobbler start gobbling at you, or maybe a hen. They'll just start running to you, yelping and KeeKeeing, or just yelping and cutting every step of the way. So just get a little bit louder after that period of time. If you notice, I also put louder yelps with the louder KeeKees. A lot of times birds get very frantic. Start getting very frantic when they know that they're lost and they're not hearing anybody and they don't have any other birds with them. So you also would want to throw that into your springtime too. Another one is how to finish a bird up would be maybe clucking and purring, and then throwing some little realistic little wits and whines in with that. And a lot of times that'll drive a gobbler crazy. So to purr, I'm going to use the bugle in the back of my throat with my cutter call. And I want to throw just a few little clucks in there and some other little sounds that a turkey makes. those kind of sounds will drive a turkey crazy. I mean, we had it work. I've had it work so many times. Even though there's no foolproof thing that's going to make a gobbler come to you, there's so many different things that you can do to get a gobbler to come to you. Another one is maybe some aggressive purring. Say there's a jake right there by you, and maybe you got a jake decoy, for to say, and then you got a gobbler out there and you want to get him to come to you. A lot of times you can just get a little aggressive, a little more aggressive purring, not so much a fighting purr, but just a little more aggressive. So you get a little louder with that, and you just keep purring at him. And a lot of times that's going to trigger him to thinking that you're wanting to, you're wanting to be the aggressor, that you're wanting to be the one that is telling him to stay back. And a lot of times that's what they do when they purr and cluck. Not just like what I was doing a minute ago, where it's more like turkeys that are feeding and they're purring and clucking and just give little soft yelps and stuff like that. But this is a little more aggressive. To me, that's a little more aggressive, and that's telling that bird something. When you got a gobbler out there, say 70, 80 yards, at that point in time, you're telling him to stay away. Okay, well, what's that going to do to him? He ain't staying away. A lot of times, he's going to come to that jake, and he's going to whoop that jake decoy and give you the opportunity for a shot. Another one is, say, a turkey that is into a fight, so you can't see the birds, and then all of a sudden, you're wanting to get the birds to come to you, and you're going to play on their jealousy side now. So it's going to sound like two jakes or two big gobblers or even hens starting to get into a fight. They get a little bit excited, and a lot of times they'll come running right at you. But what I try to do with this is I actually use my tongue. So I'm fluttering my tongue. And you can even do that even with a softer purrs. But for me, when I want to get really aggressive, then I use my tongue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put the air out to my left, and then for one bird, and air off to my right when I'm purring to get the other bird. And I'm going to try and go back like it's two different birds that are being aggressive with their purring. That can make a difference whether you're going to kill a turkey or not when you play off of their jealousy side, and they got to come in and figure out what's going on. And another one, you might try jake yelp, which a jake yelp is similar to a hen yelp. The only difference is usually it's a little deeper, their clucks are a little bit deeper, and then they're going to elongate their yelps a little bit. So a lot of times that's another one. I had my daughter with me hunting one time, and I told her, I said, I'm going to try and jake yelp. I said a lot of times that'll be on play on their jealousy side, and hopefully he'll fly down and come right up here. You know what? It worked. Not all the time does it work, but when it does work, it's pretty sweet. So this is more of a jake yelp. Now, a lot of times a jake doesn't put out the same kind of notes that a hen does, where she's doing plain yelps and all that stuff. Even though I've had jakes fool me, there are some jakes, the younger jakes, that have come in and they'll sound as pretty as any hen ever sounded. I hope these tips have helped you, and be sure and go to our YouTube channel and check out some other calling tips that we have, and be sure and watch some of our hunts. We have some great hunts.